أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers in Islam. This is indeed a very, very significant moment where the Saudis have vindicated themselves that they are not responsible for the misguidance of the Muslim Umma. Because for years, at least about 32 years of my awareness, when I woke up from the Khalid, even our assumed respected, educated scholars in West and Europe, I have a lot of faith that Europe, the scholars in Europe and West should, you see, I was expecting that they actually understood Islam more than us, because being in Europe under colonization, we thought the whites are superior in appreciation and the realization of the truth and the sticking to it, but it turns out not to be so. That they dictate on moon sighting. They never said so, but today it became apparent. So I'm extremely grateful. But the problem is we don't know the age and the Islamic knowledge of the Sunnah of those actually who broke the backbone this Ramadan. There are a lot of mistakes, the Muslim Umma, but who listens? Because we don't read. Our ibadah is based on one issue. Call it shirk, whatever disbelief, zulm, fisk, nafs, our own personal desire, infiltrated and saturated with illiteracy and arrogance. A Muslim is supposed to be extremely soft, ever ready to be corrected. I mean, we are just behaving like definitely the beginning of revelation. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam went to the mountaintop, well, that is, let us understand it that way. He came with eyes reddened, telling his people, his cousins and the nephews. They said, "Alright, that is the most, repulsive appearance, showing fear, sincerity, and warning. I am warning you, troops are descending to attack you." Look at that. But what do? This is our situation. We are not doing anything. Our prayers are zero. Now fasting is coming zero. People are not interested. They just want stories. We quite agree. But let us understand the fundamental and the prime way of life in Islam is أَمْرُهُمْ شُورَى بَيْنَهُمْ وَعَلَى رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ. We shura, mutual consultation for the best, but not interfering on what you are allowed to do. not interfering on what your own choice, but within the sphere and the permission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I have been for years since I wrote down my book that we are making mistakes. We don't know the time of Fajr. We don't know how to break our fast. And even the niyyah, there is confusion. That if we make niyyah from the beginning, that's the end of it. But how can a Muslim titrate and know the truth from falsehood? That means there is confusion, there is misdirection. It's no longer Sirat al-Mustaqim, but tariqah. Because tariqah, there is crookedness. But Sirat al-Mustaqim, there is nothing like misguidance. There is no turbulence, there is no potholes. Everything is smooth. So what is wrong with us? It's because we feel we know. We are not trained, brought up. The West, I know the West. Where are the Islamic schools? Where are they? Not at all. The atmosphere is not conducive for Islamic education. Crowded. Very hard to live. Unlike here in probably West Africa. The space, the environment, the opportunity to go to your own farm, keep your own goats, sheep, camel, your chicken, don't feed them. So they eat from your reserves or leftover. So what is wrong with us? That's why I am appealing to those who think they know. They told us that there are about 500 most educated believers in the Ummah. Nobody is saying they are not. But what to understand of education in Islam is correction. Understanding the Sunnah, not anything else. If you don't understand the Sunnah, we have nothing to do with you. Because Quran is science, it's my own profession. I'm not interested in what you say. But I know in medicine, one verse clears everything. In Surah Al-Hajj, I think verse number 5. Allah created you. Then kept on the stages. Medicine is one of the subjects or professions dealt with in the Holy Quran. It brings you down to believe in Allah and obey Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By the time you are stitching, opening the abdomen, you follow your textbook. And it explains if there is a problem, what to do to correct it. But when you apply that in Islam, well, that is the problem. The greatest problem is people believe that there is authority besides Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Well, the life of the Sahabas, even himself, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, indicated that there is no authority except the command. But Allah commands him, does he wait? Does he look for anybody to join him? The best example is the affair of Hudaybiyah, the first one. Then the Battle of the Trench, Ahzab, and others. And he explained, mentioned, Inni akhafu in asaytu rabbi adhaba yawmin adim. not Yawman Alim, Azim, because he has been forgotten, but he will suffer in this world. That's the meaning of the word Azim, is in this world. I fear if I disobey my Lord. He said, my Lord, he is independent of you. If you don't believe in Allah, he has nothing to do with you. But here we are. For 7 years, I think I finished my book, I don't know when I wrote it, that let us understand our mistakes. I even sent the book to Muslims, mosques in Europe, in Britain, and America. Read it, you Imam, and then tell your congregation that I have read this. Now let us discuss. You can't just be a dreamer. This is what I say. This is our attitude. You are dreaming. You think you will survive with infusion, intubation, or osmosis. We are a higher creature. You must have dynamics. ATP, ADP conversion before you live, not osmosis. But even I think in osmosis there is ATP, ADP conversion. I have forgotten my basic physiology, unicellular organisms. But we are multicellular. My brother, it is wrong to assume that, especially in my country, Nigeria, but I think it's all over the world, that your leader is responsible for your deviation. Never. And they will never follow. Let's go back to At-Torah. Because I tell people to read At-Torah, especially the Promised Study version of the Bible, contemporary English version. The English is very good. Simple. Read it first of all before you go to the Quran, which is up and down, undulation. That one is straightforward. People say that if the Emir or the Sultan or the Imam is wrong, you too are wrong. That is the greatest misunderstanding of revelation. The purpose of sending Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we know from his example, he went to Taif without permission from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was his first experience. He was injured. So when Abu Bakr solicited that they should leave Mecca to Medina, he refused. He said, I am not being yet to be permitted. Look at that. His best friend, his protector, one of his protectors, he said, I am not even permitted, Abu Bakr. Go, leave me alone. Look at that. But we never take examples to learn because we don't read. And our scholars are arrogant. Scholars and the imams. It's a matter of consultation. But the basics, we are talking of the basics, not additional. Basics, read 40 verses from a surah in Fajr prayer. That is the basic, that is the minimum. Not 287 or 86 Surah Al-Baqarah. No, read, and there is demarcation from Baqarah to Qaf. Those are the surahs one should recite in Fajr, and it's always begin from verse number 1. Not the way Saudis and other imams are doing, cutting it. Pick it from wherever you want. 8 verses, 10 verses. First rakah in Fajr. Where is the discipline and the respect of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So my brothers, I say I will ever be grateful to a believer, to a friend, who sent me, when I made a comment, this Mus'haf wiki, Quran wiki. There are about 32 different types of 32 authors on the tafsir of the Holy Quran. So you choose. Now, if we go with the negation that you are not responsible, you cannot follow mistakes, and that you are responsible, that you won't call anybody to come and share your own sin. Therefore, if you will not call anybody to share and they have your sin, take it, mount it on his bed. That means you should know that it has nothing to do with him, but except on what is allowed. If you like, if you are in a mosque for Fajr prayer, the Imam begins with, he wants to complete Surah Al-Baqarah in 2 settings, like done by Abu Bakr and Umar. I do it myself, sometimes probably 3 times in ayah, 4 times in ayah. I read 186 verses for plus 90. Sorry, 187, or 188, or 189. First raka'ah. So if he starts, you can leave the mosque. It's not compulsory for you. So my brothers, let us know the basics. In Surah Al-An'am, that is revealed towards the tail end of Makkah life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, غير الله أبغي ربا, change it, غير رسول أبغي ربا, because Rab is the one who commands to do everything. And the Apostle Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Rabbina وهو رب كل شيء ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها ولا تكسب كل نفس إلا عليها. If you come to a particular command, pillar of Islam, that is what you are going to be rewarded on. If it is Surah Al-Baqarah, if it is Fajr prayer, it is Fajr prayer, not Zuhr prayer. If it is first rak'ah, it is first rak'ah, not second rak'ah. So you must follow the rules and the regulations. Illa alayha. وَلَا تَذْرُ وَاذِرَةٌ وُذْرَ أُخْرَى. Now that is the mistake we are making. And if you take off Lucy, this is the last. Let us go back to Surah Al-Fatir. I don't know when Fatir was revealed, but check it please, my brother. You have to know these important details before you understand the Holy Quran. If you look at Alusi's tafsir, because that is Ahkam al-Quran, you find out negation, total negation of what is your understanding of your relationship between amongst us. Who knows? No, nobody is allowed to mislead you. You mislead yourself because of nafs al-hawa. He mentioned that the Jews in the hereafter will refer to their benevolence of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We invited him to protect us, not you, Aus and Hazaraj. We advised you that if you hold him strong, firmly, you will conquer the world. Please give us something out of that. Help us. They will say, no, can't help you. The same thing between parents, son and husband. or son and father, mother and husband, mother and a son. Help me to take out my sin. They say, no, I can't do it for you. That is the tafsir of Alusi, Ahkam al-Quran. Now check other Ahkam al-Qurans. Where do you find inconsistency? So I argue that, look, there are 500 respected Islamic scholars. Or there are many of them if you look at the internet. But there are 15 that we often see mentioned. Now, what do I say now is, what are these 15 Islamic scholars doing for us on this most important question of my observation, that we don't observe Fajr time. We don't observe Fajr time. We know their names. But what are they doing to help us? So I am appealing to these 15. I think it began with Dr. Bilal Phillips. I can remember Qadi, Abdullah Ali, Mufti of Zambia, 48-year-old, but look at him paraded as an authority. We all respect them because Islam is a matter of reading and remembrance. You may forget something, but the essentials, you can't forget the essentials and the priority. So please let them be our leaders. Let them have something to say on this very important Fajr time. Because nobody, the fasting is zero. In my country, Nigeria, I had the first call to prayer around, we did for 9 minutes after 4. Then the prayer was done at about 17 minutes after 5. And I'm sure that is the time everybody is eating. They don't know the exact time. Saudi Arabia, the same thing. So what I'm saying, Fajr time is wrong all over the world. Why? These important scholars have not actually revealed this mistake, made it known, and then came out with a consensus. This is the importance of the affair, because Fajr time is a matter of regional distribution. But definitely I know in my country, Nigeria, it is wrong. They don't know, and they will never listen to me. But I'm happy, because of the verse 100 and I think 60 something, 64 in Surah Al-An'am. Whatever, or something, I've forgotten it. وَحَشَرْنَا عَلَيْهِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قُبْلًا وَحَشَرْنَا عَلَيْهِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قُبْلًا مَا كَانُوا يُؤْمِنُونَ. They will never agree. Even if they will see somebody punished in the grave, if the punishment in the grave will be shown to them, they will never change. So how should I waste my time, truly speaking, even telling my children who don't believe that there is somebody who knows in Islam? Leave them. Leave them. Because it is evident. I'm not giving you enough time. ما تذكر فيه من تذكره وجاءكم نذير. So there's nothing like wasting your time. I don't understand us. We don't value education while we see that West, Europe, Germany, Japan, China, they are ahead of USA in technology. Why? Because of education, research and development, thinking. Look at us Muslims, dead, log. So please, as I said in Twitter and in Facebook, stop fasting unless you are sure, you are convinced, you discuss with your local imam what is the correct time of Fajr. Because if you eat after Fajr, your fasting is zero. And the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam emphasized that whoever follows one besides us, he said, us, that means himself and the Sahabas, because he insists that it is what he practiced and his Sahabas. But take a Sahaba, 3 of them, forget about all these Sahabas. Take Abu Bakr and Umar. Then read their encyclopedia of fiqh. Please stick to it. Then if you make a mistake, be bold enough. Look, in the hereafter it is discussion between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's like a viva. When you, after the theory, the practice, you sit down with an external examiner. In medicine, yes, you go over, see actually how freedom you have, how free you are. Then if you fail that one, you fail the examination. If you are asked what is the treatment of malaria, you say it is what? Ampiclox. Treatment of malaria in the tropics, Ampiclox. What do you think? You have failed the examination. You have failed the examination. But what is the treatment of malaria? You say, I will give him sulfuric acid, concentrated sulfuric acid. My brothers, it's the same thing I was trained. So how do you expect me to something contrary to my basic training? Something I developed with. And I see its reality in the practice. That whatever you are doing is textbook. In our time, we don't prescribe on children without being weighed. I'm sure it is not so today. At least, if the file is brought to you, you check the last time the baby was weighed. It's 3 months, please weigh him again. He must have increased his weight. So my brothers, I appeal to the 500 Muslim scholars to tell us the exact time of Fajr with references. Otherwise, my book, Astronomical Calculations, explaining the obscurity of the crescent and the common mistakes, is the base. There is an information there, argument. But it's better you are educated, freedom. So please let us face reality. It's a waste of, the ibadah is useless, not accepted if you don't fast according to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum.